You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back, Rodrance, for Black and White Sports 2. Well, we got a situation here where we've got an Alabama football player that is in some major hot water. We've got Nick Saban making some comments and pretty clearly taking a shot at Alabama basketball. Because we remember now, Nate Oats making the comments about wrong place, wrong time in regards to Brandon Miller of the basketball team. And we got Nick Saban blatantly coming out and saying directly in a quote, there's no such thing as wrong place, wrong time. Because he's already suspended this freshman. And some people will say, well, you're just reading something into it. Come on. Nick Saban is completely aware of every single thing he says. We know he's part of that Belichick tree. He knows what he's saying, and obviously he thinks that situation is a hot mess. And some of these details have come out involving Tony Mitchell. It's freaking crazy. It really is. Alabama freshman defensive back Tony Mitchell attempted to flee at 141 miles per hour. That's per the police. I've got the New York Post and I've got Outkick on here. Alabama freshman defensive back Tony Mitchell attempted to evade police by driving 141 miles per hour before his arrest last Wednesday, according to police records obtained by AL.com. Holmes County, Florida police wrote in their report that Mitchell, quote, admitting to fleeing law enforcement and claimed his passenger, Christopher Lewis, told him to, quote, punch it. The police found $7,000 in cash and 226 grams of marijuana, as well as a loaded gun in the back of the car, a black Dodge Challenger. There is his mugshot right there. There's money. There's a lot of weed. There's a gat right there. Mitchell and Lewis were each charged with possession of marijuana and intent to sell or distribute. That's the part that's really going to get him in a bind. While Lewis was also charged with carrying a concealed firearm without a permit. Police attempted to initiate a traffic stop when they clocked him going 78 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. Lewis then accelerated to 141 miles per hour, causing officers to lose him, per the report. When the vehicle again passed by where the cops were stationed, they were able to pull him over. Officers found Mitchell's eyes to be red and glazy, while he offered slow and delayed responses to their questions. Quote, when asked if there was marijuana in the vehicle, Mitchell produced a baggie of marijuana from the passenger floorboard. Holmes County Sheriff's Office wrote on its Facebook. Both Mitchell and Lewis were taken into custody. Mitchell was suspended by the team and, quote, all team activities, Coach Nick Saban said at the Crimson Tide's first spring practice. Now, let's get to this. Suspends the freshman. Wrong place, wrong time, not an excuse in a possible dig at Alabama basketball. I don't think there's anything possible about it. No idea that this really would just be a coincidence situation. Saban then announced Mitchell would be suspended from team activities until the school gathers more information, and it was how Saban phrased it that caught the attention of a lot of folks around the country. Quote, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing as being at the wrong place at the wrong time, Saban said. You have to be responsible about who you are, who you're around, what you do, and who you associate yourself with, along with the situations you put yourself in. Bravo. That is a responsible way of looking at it. It is what it is, but there's a cause and effect when you make choices and decisions that put you in bad situations. Nate Oats apologizes for wrong place, wrong time. We remember he said that. If the phrase wrong place, wrong time sounds familiar, it should. Following the testimony in Tuscaloosa court on February 21, it was the first time we heard basketball player Brandon Miller's name mentioned with the tragic shooting that took place in Tuscaloosa. Speaking with the media following Alabama's morning practice, Coach Nate Oats took the podium and tried to tell everyone that he had a hold of the situation. During his presser, Oats pointed out that the school had known about the individuals involved in the fatal incident in January. While discussing the incident, Oats decided to use a very poor choice of words. Quote, "We knew about that. You can't control everything everybody does outside of practice," Oats said at the time. "Nobody knew that was going to happen. College kids are out. Brandon hasn't been in any type of trouble, nor is he in any type of trouble in this case. Wrong spot at the wrong time." The quote caught fire nationally, leading Oats to apologize for his words, which would turn out to be the first of two apologies regarding Brandon Miller. We were all wondering when Nick Saban would potentially have to punish a player for something done wrong off the field. He infamously passed on punishment for Jermaine Burton incidents last fall. As history proves, Nick Saban is not the type of coach to mince words, so today was most likely Nick Saban acting like his regular self. And if his choice of words caused a problem, so be it. Yeah, Nick don't care. Nick don't care if Nate Oats is furious right now about these comments. Nick Saban doesn't give a rat's. This will certainly be talked about around campus and around the country. Now Tony Mitchell was arrested for marijuana possession while Brandon Miller has not been charged with any type of crime. So obviously we're dealing with two types of situations. But it should be noted how Alabama football coach decided to characterize the suspension of Tony Mitchell. Meanwhile, folks continue to argue about how the communications department at Alabama has failed in the Brandon Miller situation. If you're wondering if Saban's word will cause any type of backlash inside the athletic department, they might. But this Outkick writer is correct. Nick Saban doesn't give a rip. And no, he's not going to care. It would not shock me one bit if Nick Saban, who honestly seems like this type, sat back, taking in the Nate Oats comments, taking in the Brandon Miller situation, and behind closed doors being furious about the whole situation and how it was treated. That wouldn't shock me one bit. Nick Saban doing a sorry son of a bitch, and that's not how you handle this, and that's not what represents our athletic department, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, you can hear it behind the scenes. Nick Saban, I'm not saying he said this, but you know what Nick Saban's personality is like. No nonsense, just like Belichick. And I'm sure he was probably sitting behind closed doors somewhere, and we'll never know it. We'll never hear it. Nobody will probably ever speak of it. He might have even done it to himself, or maybe sitting around his wife or somebody like that, and just went off about this situation. It does not shock me in the least that he used those choice of words, and he made it very clear. No place for wrong place, wrong time. Well, if he views it that way for football, do we really believe he would view it any differently for basketball? Of course he will not. He said there's no excuse for it. None. And personally speaking, of course, you guys know I'm a big Nick Saban guy. Tricky Nicky. I'm a huge fan. And yeah, I'm a Michigan fan. I like the Wolverines. That's always been my team. But when I can, unless they face each other, I pretty much always pull for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide when they play. Plus, I like a hell of a lot of players that come out of there. You guys know we routinely and mainly cover the NFL on this channel. XFL, USFL, wrestling, UFC, but we primarily cover the NFL. Nick Saban he's basically a pros coach, and that program, football program, is essentially a pro football program. It is. Georgia too. A lot of those SEC schools, Ohio State, Big Ten, it's a pro program. The guys coming out of there, they're just rolling out NFL players. So I love that kind of program. I do. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 supporters. Man, I may have a lot of videos today. So I'm just letting you know. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.